Hello, my name is OTTERRAK and I make things. What did I make today? Well, if you go by the intro, I made a Proton Pack, and you'd be right. I made a Proton Pack. This Proton Pack, I've used a lot of the things that I've learned over the years to implement into the painting and other things of this pack, but I'm really proud of the electronics. This is my first dive in with Arduinos at all. Before November of last year, which would have been maybe 4 months ago, never touched an Arduino. And this is entirely implemented with code from ChatGPT, to be quite honest. So that's kind of the back end of the lights and sound. There's a lot of different implementations that I implemented into this one, and I hope you enjoy the fun little things that you wouldn't expect when it comes to a Proton Pack. All right, we're going to go over my Proton Pack. My Proton Pack is a Q pack, and it has a lot of Taco Belly things involved in it. The Taco Belly stuff is like the pop mechanism and I want to say the internals inside the cyclotron cake and cooling cylinders inside here. That's what I call them. Let's see if that's what they actually are called. Everything on here is 3D printed other than nuts and bolts. So like the clippered valve, 3D printed, resin printed, everything is 3D printed other than nuts and bolts, and like this mesh inside here is not. And you know, the things that can't be aren't. All of the stickers and whatnots, that is from, let's see here, most of them are Moby stickers. Like this one here, it came with 2. I liked this one better. It looked more worn out than the new, so I went with that one. I weathered it even more. And yes, Moby is here, and the round one on the HGA and on the crank generator are Mobies. Mobies. All of the tubing, that is all from GBHQ Parts Depot. $25 maybe for those. And so I didn't like so this sticker here is, but it was like the on aluminum style sticker, you know, where it's kind of got that chrome looking to it. Same with like this, but this one here, I didn't like how that one looked. So I actually went and bought a whole another set that looks like this. It's from I don't know if he wants me to say his name. I don't have his actual business name. It was James, but James, you know who you are. These are amazing. I used them for here, and this one here. These needed more of a not shiny look, if that makes sense. But like this clippered valve, you wanted the shininess. So, and the slow blow they kind of look better with that chrome accenty look. So I kind of just stuck with it with those. Is it right? Is it not right? I don't know. But that's kind of what I did on mine. I wanted the chromey here. I didn't want it here. So I had to get two different versions of the stickers. So, and then my wand here, same deal. It's more chromy here, you know, more shiny on these, but then you weather them and then they look better. So the pop mechanism is from Taco Belly. Amazing. It's got the twist. It's got the pop out mechanism. It just works great. Mine is over engineered. I put a metal rod. You can print out the tube with all the connections on the inside, but I literally took this power washing wand, wash and rinse for car wash, and this tube was the absolutely perfect size. So I cut that off and it fit right down the tube, fit perfectly. Maybe we'll open that up here in a bit and kind of go over the wand itself a little deeper. So if we open So what I did with the cyclotron is I wanted it to be Ghostbusters Afterlife accurate. Not so much the lights, but how when Phoebe comes and takes the lid off, there's not a single wire, but the lights still run. So I'm going to turn it on here a minute. So when we take this and we screw this down, it activates the lights. But when we take this off, lights turn off, but the cake lights are activated. So here, she replaced the CRT emitter diodes, whatever they are. So these are magnetized. So there's a magnet in here, there's a magnet here, and each one can go wherever the other one can. So inside here, the actual LEDs are inside the CRT emitters. They're wired in, and they are using these LEDs. So they're little mini LEDs, and they actually sit up in the cone inside there, and then they're wired. So this pin right here is right here, this line coming down, which is this. this contact is this wire, which goes underneath, that comes to here, which powers from the Arduino. That pin goes to this light. This pin right up here goes to this light. This pin goes to this light, and this pin goes to this light, or however that is. And this is ground. So this ground comes up into this CRT emitter, which then uses the, this is a coax fitting. I forget the name, but this is the ground for the lights over here. And this one is grounded, which then comes down here and grounds this one. So they're all grounded together, and it's all grounded underneath going to this pin right here, which touches right here, and these 4 touch up here. And then there's a reed switch, which is activated by this light, this contact. Well, this doesn't even contact. This is a magnet, which activates the reed switch, that when this is put on, shuts off the lights inside. So boom, boom. If you pay attention where the light is, they are in sequence with these. But this is all self-contained inside one unit and makes contact up here. So then we get to our cake here. Our cake is its own engineering deal here. So when Phoebe is working on the Proton Pack in the house, when she's first working on it, and you know, she has to replace these. So then she replaces that, and then she comes here and she pulls out the cake and kind of sets it aside. Well, this is pretty accurate. So what it is these spring. So I gotta explain this a minute. So the contact points are inside here. You can see them right here. 1, 2, and then there's 2 over here. 2 over here, 1 over here. And so what this does is I can't screw them in and have them be perfect. It just does not work. They need to have springs here so that this one goes like right here. This goes like this deep, but this one goes a little deeper because that pin is sticking out a little higher. And this one barely goes in. So that when you set this down, it activates it. So because the ring light inside here needs 1 5 volts, 2 ground, and 3 a Arduino pin. So they all have to be in contact. And the only way to do that is to have these be adjustable. What's interesting is what these actually are. And I use these throughout the rest of the pack. And I'll show you that in a bit. But for now, what these are if you've ever had a flashlight and you needed to replace a light bulb inside the flashlight. You take the bulb, you push, you twist, and you pull the bulb out. And then you take your new one and you push, twist, and it goes in. That's what these are. These are the little spring-loaded mechanisms for the flashlight light bulb. and I cut them down to size so they'd sit flush, and then I welded or I soldered in some nuts to make it take up more space. Now, when I soldered these in on the other side, I don't care that if the edge touches or this touches, it's all kind of soldered together on the other side, inside here. So then this rod is, it sits up here like this, just like it does in the movie, because there's many ways I could have done it. I could have had this go all the way down, or the rod come up and twist into this. But in the movie, this sits at like this height. And so this is removable. And the one thing with like this entire build is everything is removable. Everything. So, for example, there are screws to take this off if I want. These twist off. So this was the main goal of this entire thing, was everything is replaceable and everything is removable. So this is M4 going into an embedded M4 threaded insert. So that's completely removable. Well, I can screw that in later, but like this. This is removable because I wanted to paint this by itself. And then this comes off. Now I had to do a little tape and paint for this, but this I could just paint black and I didn't have to tape that off. And right here is my insert, which keys into here, which then screws into here. So everything is removable on here. Absolutely everything. When it comes to the body, not so much. I ended up gluing because it was more important to glue than it was to have it be removable, the body itself. But most everything else is. This is removable from this, which is removable from this. This comes off, this comes off. You get the point. Everything, I wanted it as like that. And we'll turn this back on. So now I can put this on. It sits like this, right like this. Boom. And then I gave it a little bit of a, if I click that lever, you can either have that or you can have the fiery spinny. Now I could adjust this code if I wanted it a little bit different, but this was kind of cool to me, so I left it. All right, so next we're gonna go to here. So I wanted, here, let me shut it off a minute. I did this kind of myself here. This was how I imagine that this whole operation works. So I have these hoses, look like they're coming down the tubes here and then going in, and then fuses, 1980s style fuses, just in case you have to replace it. That's how it would work back in the day. And then this ribbon cable runs our I think 14 is what I have in here, 14 LEDs, and they're little, I'll show you, they're these, which I'd never seen these before, but I needed them too. So like this one here is green, right here, this one's green. So I have 14 blue ones, and they're all grounded together, and then each one goes to its own pin on one of the 2 Arduinos that I have in here. So there is that, which we can turn it back on, which we can turn it on from the switch or from the wand. And then I have this little light is tied into, I think, this light right here. So boom, boom. So there is that. And so then we get to our ribbon cable. And this ribbon cable is, I made this ribbon cable. And I made it and this is my proof that I did. So here is my just loose colors. I got these off of eBay. I think I got 10 foot of each color it was expensive, $10 a piece. But I was sick of waiting. I waited. I ordered one of these on Etsy from a guy. That was 3 months ago. I've sent, hey, where's this at? Give me some sort of understanding of the timing or whatever. Never got back to me, so I just built it myself. So it's accurate. It's accurate. We got your brown, red, yellow, green, blue, and then the space is about 3 wire space, orange, purple, gray, white, black, 3 space, and then the white, brown, white, red, white, orange, white, yellow, white, green, white, blue. So that is the ribbon cable. And so let's go back up. So let's come to this side. So I made this our volume, and there we go. There. And then we can hit our deal here. Which, let's look down the barrel here, because there it is. I have 2 yellow, 2 blue, and 3 white, and they flash at different intervals. But that's how I did it. And they just kind of blink, 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 and they blink separately. Maybe we can do that like this. So there's that. So then I'm going to take the screws off here, the screw off here, and the screw off on the other side here a minute. Okay, so this isn't the most movie accurate way of connecting the wand to the pack, but it's what I'm doing. Now it should shut off because this was removed. But that's what I decided to use. I think that's a 20 pin. I think I'm using all of 18 to go down a ribbon cable from here to the wand, which we're going to come back to the wand. The wand's its own operation, to be quite honest with you. So here's our pack. We'll shut it off. And so this was very important that I didn't bookcase the pack from the motherboard on the bottom. So it just is removed. So these 3 pins use the same light bulb mechanism as this did. So it's got these deals on the pack side. And then the speaker has its own set of contacts with, so here's our motherboard, all the contacts, and that's all that's on the motherboard. So then here's the pack. And so here are, we'll get a close up here. Here are the 3 contacts for the cake. And then these 2 contacts are for the speaker. Here's our battery pack right here. And there's a little extension here, so it tees off, L's off over to come to power the main Arduino that's right here. Amp sits up here. Here's another, oh, inside here, I didn't mention it, that's the charging port right here for the battery pack. The DF player is right here with the soundboard. And then this is the Arduino for the power cell lights, which is a closer look right there. They're all lined up. I 3D printed a deal that holds all of them in, and it sits really flush to the blue acrylic that I put in there. And here are the contact points for the cyclotron lights. The grounding is right here. And in here is where that, what do you call it? The reed switch. There it is. The reed switch is right there. And then here is the ribbon cables that go down to the wand. I handmade these two. This is an aluminum that I made myself. Here's that Moby round deal right there. So this is my pack. So let's take a look at the wand. All right, I got all the screws out. Here's the wand. I self-bent this aluminum. I'm pretty proud of that. That matches right up with the pack aluminum. It just works great. But here is the inside, and here's that metal that just seems a little more sturdy than 3D printed or anything else. So that just runs right off this green lever. Everybody knows it's the Taco Belly, and it flies out and it just works. Keeping all the wires away from this mechanism is the key. These two wires go down and they go to the orange hat light and the red button right here. I put this connection point in. I don't know why. It kind of just takes up space, and I don't know. So that's in there. And then this operation, this guy right here, I hate this thing. Not anymore. No, not now. Hold on one second. Okay, what I was saying, I couldn't find it. I bought a Chinese 28 section bar graph, and you have to wire that yourself, and you need to attach it to another mechanism. I have yet to figure it out. So this is a Fruto technology. They're out of England, I believe. Got here really quick. It's amazing. It does exactly what you would expect Ghostbusters bar graph to do. I had to wire it. It needs 5 volts. So I wired it, I believe, ahead of this switch. So it comes on when this switch is activated. And then it does from the middle out. And that's that's tied in before the intensify button is pushed. So when you push that, then it goes zhoo, zhoo, zhoo. And then when you let go, then it goes from the bottom to top, just like you would expect it to do. So yes, that is the wand. So let me get it all put back together and show it off one more time. Actually, I thought you might get a kick out of watching this be put all back together. So because I had to modify this, I had to modify this. So this just sits in here right like that. And then that is opened up for space. And then the same with here, because I needed to attach this to this. I needed that bolt to be there, that nut to be there. So that is why that is there. So it all sits flush, right like that. And then, as you can see, these line up to here, which come down these lines, which come to here. Speaker wires come to these contacts here. So then this whole operation just drops right on. And to prove that it works, we'll turn this on. We need the wand. So then we take our wand and I mark the line. The line goes up. So now I have not put any nuts or bolts or whatever to tie it down. It's just the contact. So we're going to power this down. We're going to turn it on. Lights are coming on inside here. So that speaker's working based off of them 2 contacts, and these lights are working based off them 3 contacts. And our Fruto technology is working here. This lever turns on the hat lights here. This one turns on the slow blow light. And this up here turns on that light. Super not bright. I may need to change the resistor that's in there to make that a little brighter. But then this comes down. And as soon as this tightens down, all of our lights work. And the one thing I did do is bear with me while we hold this button for 15 seconds. And that is my Proton Pack. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.